everyone. This is Jewel Talk Tuesday. I'm so glad you could join me. Today I am here with a friend, and she will introduce herself in a minute. But this is a new segment that I would like to put on my platform to share other people's gifts, their talents, and what they're doing for other women in the community. It is so important as women that we share, and as people too, because I have encouraged guys to. So as people that we share our stories, share what we're doing for others, and through our experiences, whether they were good or bad, that we share to help someone else along. Because where would we be if we had had that helping hand in that tumultuous part of our lives?
Yes.
So I want to introduce her.
Okay. So I'm Diane, and a little bit about what I do, my journey. I'm a retired school teacher.
Ooh.
And first of all, I taught school 17 years. So that was my identity.
Okay.
I was a teacher. And it was so important to me because I became a teacher when I was 35. Until then, I kind of struggled to find my place.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I had been to college, I've been to so many colleges and so many years. I could have been a doctor by now.
Wow.
But it was me finding myself. So if you don't have a plan, a life plan, you're planning to fail.
Okay. Good
So
information.
by the time I was 28, I was on the second husband.
Okay.
And 2 kids, which was not a big deal. But I mean, 28, 2 kids. I did wait till I was 25 to have kids, but I still didn't know who I was and what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was going through the motions.
Okay.
And I grew up in church, so all you see is people getting married, people having kids, but they don't tell you then what.
Yeah.
Okay, so further down the line, I finally made it as I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a school teacher. This is what I do. I got my career going, and then sickness hits me, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, what's happening? I felt like I was losing my independence.
So can I ask you, what did you teach in school?
So I taught kindergarten to 8th grade.
Ooh.
Big jump.
Yeah.
Special ed, I taught general ed, I was the reading remediation teacher, I even became the librarian at one time.
Wow.
So that is what I did. And when I started to lose my independence, I didn't know what to do. Because even when I got divorced, this job, helped me send both my kids to college. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I couldn't imagine not being able to provide for myself. Okay. So I went through this deep depression. I didn't even know I was depressed. I was crying on the way home from work, crying to work, crying when I wake up, crying when I went to sleep. I just wanted to go in a corner and just disappear. Not die, but just...
Yeah. And
people were like, oh, you look so good, because I had lost weight. Mm-hmm. And I just had to one day stop and say, I am not okay. I look good because I had lost weight. I am not okay emotionally. Yeah. And I was taught, I was a pastor's kid, so you're like, if you're giving into depression, oh, you're giving into the devil, just pray about it. I was like, look, God, I don't want one more person to tell me about praying. I know how to pray.
Yes.
I don't want to hear no scripture. So I would say, Lord, lay me on the saint's heart, because I can't pray for myself.
Right.
I don't want to hear about it. And, I was always the one, my daughter would say, Mom, everybody should see a therapist. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I talk to my friends, my family. You're like, no. God put me to the point I couldn't even say I didn't need a therapist. So I finally found me a therapist. Best thing ever. Mm-hmm. And she helped me to understand you are so much more than what you do.
Yes.
Now, I always knew I had ministry in me. Mm-hmm. But, I grew up in the Sanctified Holiness Church. So ministry to them was you up preaching.
Yeah.
And I just didn't see myself up preaching. And so when I started going through all these health issues, that's when God revealed to me He had another purpose or another type of ministry for me.
Yeah.
And what you're going to do is not going to be in the church house. It's going to be outside the church house. And I've allowed you to go through these health issues and mental issues so you can help other people realize you need help, get you some help. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I had always, because I taught school, I started a nonprofit because when my parents would come in for parent-teacher conferences, they say, oh, I struggle in reading too, and my kid can't read because I can't read. So I'm like, well, how can we help these, people? How can we break this cycle? So I started Need to Succeed. It's an adult literacy program to teach adults how to read. And so when I went through these emotional issues, God showed me, not only do I want you to teach people how to read, but I want you to teach people how to be well in mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
So I had started Need to Succeed 5 years ago, but now I'm adding to that. It's time for you to show people how to get the help they need. And so also, as I was going through my issues, I would always talk to my friend and realize, oh, we have the same issues. So her and I, we had decided we should start a podcast. I ain't never started a podcast, didn't know nothing about podcasts. I'm like, I'm not very tech savvy. So Our Journey Sister Speak, we just talk about our issues and we hope that can help somebody. So I got a lot of different things going on, but it's all about helping people. And at first I was like, women. But men need help too, girl.
Exactly.
The reason we can't find no husbands because they messed up.
Oh, girl, that's a whole nother subject right there. And we would do something about that. We would talk about that. But it's so interesting to hear you speak about, people growing up in the church. There are so many people that have grew up in the church and people that haven't. These are generations that have never been in the church. And when they see the older generation that have been in the church under these strict guidelines and stuff, it's nothing wrong with it to a certain degree, but you have to live outside the church.
And that's the problem. We don't have balance.
We don't have balance.
We didn't know how.
Yeah, and see, for me, some people be like, oh, well, I don't know if she's really saved, because I can talk about anything. I know how far to go. I know what I ain't going to do, and I know what I'm going to do. But you have to be able to talk to people and see where they're at to help them. Yeah. And then they will open up and you can see what the issue is. You're not judging them for their issue. You're trying to help. And that's what my grandmother did. She helped everybody. It didn't matter what you was doing or whatever. She might tell you about yourself, but other than that, she was praying and she would help you. And that's what I admire about you. Like, you're doing all that. That's amazing.
And I used to, growing up in the church, I was so sanctified, so proud of being sanctified. Like, I would judge people. I'd be like, they ought to be shaming themselves. Until I found myself in that situation. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, what have I been doing all these years?
Because you was taught that. You was taught that by people that sat on a pedestal that had issues themselves, but we didn't know it because they lived over here and hid that stuff.
Exactly.
But we all have issues. So when I'm going through now, I be like, well, I ain't the only one.
Yeah.
Like,
and people need our testimonies. We're afraid to share our testimonies because we don't want to be vulnerable. But it takes vulnerability to help other people and also so you can grow.
Yes, exactly. So you were saying that you do the literacy and the podcast. So on your podcast, what are some of the things you and your partner talk about?
So we talk about mental health. If you need a therapist, get one.
I know that's right.
Our last episode, we talked about advocating for your own physical health.
Okay.
Because I didn't realize so many Black women die in childbirth.
Yeah.
Like, I've had 2 kids, and I didn't realize I was in jeopardy every time I had a kid, you know. But one thing I am glad of, I had an African American doctor.
Okay.
I didn't realize it at the time that I should have been looking for one. I just happened to find one, you know. But now when I'm looking for a doctor, I always make it a point to say, do you have an African American doctor? Because I want somebody who knows my culture, who knows what diseases lie within African Americans. So yeah, we talk about advocating for your own health. We've talked about relationships. I said I don't want to beat that dead horse, you know, but
listen, it's not actually a dead horse. I mean, I have said it, and of course, we're gonna have to come back and talk about this. But I feel like if we don't get our point across, and we don't share the things that we go through, how are we gonna help the younger generations to stop making the mistakes that we made?
That's true.
Stop just, you know, settling and giving in to what their options are. Men will be stronger if we stand our ground. But anyway,
that's true.
Back to this.
Well, let's go back to that, because, like I said, I've been married twice. I didn't seek God as to whether or not I should marry this person. I just was in the church, so I saw marriage. I wanted to be married. But it wasn't until recently God showed me I should not just be looking for any old body.
Exactly.
I should be looking for someone whose purpose in life, mission in life, aligns with the mission and purpose that God has shown me He has for me. Like me and my sister, we were talking today. She was like, "Oh, your house is so peaceful." I aim for peace. And
I am an advocate of peace. If you're not in my peace, you got to get out.
That's the thing. I'm like, okay, Lord, I want a mate. I want all the things that come with it. You know, him rubbing my feet, him showing me whatever. But I need for him to seamlessly weave into the life I have. Like, I don't need no drama. As far as my finances, they already settled. I don't need you to be finding yourself and finding your purpose. I went through that struggle already.
But that we'll have to come back and talk about that, because I really want to stay on the topic of, you know, the helping of getting people where they need to be to make the correct decisions and to make life choices. Because I always used to say, if there are 10 options and you only know 5 and you pick the best out of that 5, you did the best you could out of what you knew. And by us sharing and giving more options, making people aware, they can make better choices. Because where would I be if I had made better choices? If I had the information. That's one reason why I love my church, because it's always something, giving information and stuff like that, so you can be a better you, to be a better for somebody else.
And balance. Balance is the key. Because I always used to hear, you can't be so heavenly minded that you're no earthly good. And that's how I grew up, and I feel like I was so lost in my decision because it was just church. Like, I never joined any kind of team in school because it might have been on a church night, you know, and we went to church, looked like 5 days a week. And so even though it wasn't said it's a sin to be on the track team or whatever, I just felt, oh, if you put anything before church, it was a sin. So I didn't have that balance, and I always searched for that balance, but I end up searching in the wrong places.
So as we bring this little segment to an end, what would you tell a male or female that needs assistance in reading, needs assistance in understanding contracts and you know, not being able to do that? How can they reach out to you if they need help? And how can they bring themselves, you know, like sometimes the pride comes in and you don't want to feel like you're less than. because you don't know how could they position themselves first to get help.
Okay.
And another thing is to admit to themselves, this is something I just can't do.
Yeah.
And I need help.
So I do have a website. It's needtosucceed.org. And on that site, it also takes you to free lessons on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So even if they haven't got to that point where I don't want anybody to know I can't read, you can sit in your living room and watch these lessons and learn how to read. But if you do want to reach out to me, you can reach me at Diane at needtosucceed.org. If you are interested in Our Journey Sisters Speak, you can find us on Spotify. You can also find me at Instagram at needsucceed.
And I will put all this information in the bio of this video.
I'm so happy to have done this.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so fun. And we're going to do this again. And again, this is something that I want to open up to my platform to give other women, other men, other people a chance to express themselves that may be a little shy, because I haven't perfected this thing at all myself. I look at people, I look at videos, and I'm learning as I go. And this is another way for me to open up and go to the next place in God that He would have for me. Because my goal is to inspire, to encourage, and to let people know we got this. We can do this.
Ride on your coattail.
No, honey, we're going together. I learn from you, and you learn from me. Diane, I'm so happy that you came.
Thank you for
having
having me
today. And this is one of many. So I will see you guys next time on Jewel Talk Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.